when you think of the Sunshine Coast, you think of hot weather and sunshine and awesome days at the beach, but that's not the reality all year round for us here. And we're moving into fall right now, so we thought we would talk about what wintertime is like on the Sunshine Coast and if it was maybe worth coming out and visiting the coast in the wintertime.
I think so. When you compare southern BC here, the Sunshine Coast compared to the rest of Canada, definitely milder weather. Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's not like it's by no means Hawaii. It
Mhm.
doesn't get that kind of warm, but it'll still be it can be a 20 or a 30-degree swing even between, the prairies and here. So, when it's 30 below at home and you come here and it's 0 or 5 above, it feels pretty it's a big difference. It's a
You,
big difference.
you said 30 below at home, so you meant like Edmonton when we
Yes,
used to live there at the 30 below in northern Alberta, and then not so much here.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, yeah, because your average winter temperature, so I'm gonna say, like, November, December, January is, like, 4 above to 10 above during the day. Like, 4 is a bit colder and 10 is kinda more what's going on, and then at night, you're at -2 is a colder winter at night, colder temperature, and then -12 is kinda, like, really it's, like, record-breaking stuff, is, like, colder stuff that maybe we'll get a couple days here and there, but not much at all.
And it's kind of a weird thing that when it rains, it warms up a little bit,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
when it gets sunny, it cools off, and it's kinda you think it's the opposite, "Oh, I want the sun to come out for it to be warm,"
yeah,
so that in, November, December, and January, your really rainy months, they're actually kind of pleasant,
yeah.
that it's more mild. Um, we're used to, in Alberta, your winter clothes, it was long johns and, big heavy boots and, multiple layers, skidoos and toques and all the rest. Skidoos.
Skidoo suits?
Skidoo suits and, toques and scarves, and you're really bundled up, but that's not really the case here. The winter clothes that you're gonna wear are way different. You're gonna get a pair of, some kinda waterproof shoe or a hiking boot with some Gore-Tex in it to keep your little feet dry, and then you'll get some kind of a rain shell to put over top, and then maybe a couple layers underneath. You get, like, a fleece and what's the other one there?
Like the base layers,
The
like
base
your
layer, yeah.
wool liners can then keep you dry and warm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so that's kinda what you can expect here if you're coming out for a visit, is you can leave the parkas and the skidoo boots at home, but, you'll need to have more of a rain jacket kinda thing. If somebody does come out and visit in the wintertime, what are some of the things they can do?
Wintertime, well, outside it's like hiking. You can still do like you can not even you can hike up the mountain halfway up the mountain to the snow line. If the snow line hasn't come down, then yeah, you can do lower trails. You could do a lot of waterfalls because with all the rain, the waterfalls are nicer. So there's a lot of parks and lower hiking trails for waterfalls. Yeah, and then indoor, I run a Wednesday night badminton drop-in thing at the school. So then there's that. So there's indoor sports at some of the different facilities and some of the different schools. I think there might be basketball in another school, so then, it's just kinda checking the SD46 calendar and seeing what's available and seeing which group. There's definitely what groups are available. There's definitely, pickleball going on. So, yeah, some indoor sports.
And we've got in Gibson's a really nice community center
Mhm.
that has a gym and, racquetball and, hockey rink and those kinds of things.
Well, and we got the pool, and then Seashell has all the some their centers too.
That's right, that's right, and even here in Gibson's here last year, we had, it was our first season with a hockey team. So then, a couple times a week, you can go watch, the young guys play hockey there if you want. That's a pretty good time. And,
Movie theater?
movie theater, yeah, yeah, first run movies at the movie theater, you can do that. And then a lot of the things that you do in the summertime, you still have here, like, you still go out for dinner, still go shopping, all those kinds of things, but it's just a little bit more relaxed and laid back here in the wintertime.
Yeah, I'll talk about the restaurant thing, but first I do want to say, yeah, like even our paddling, the outrigger canoe, we go out in the winter, so we go out all year round. There's like a few times that we do miss. We show up and it's like raining way too hard, so we just say, let's go for coffee instead. Or sometimes there's too much ice at the boat ramp, so we can't launch because there's ice right in there because it's the water doesn't move as much and there's a freshwater creek coming in. So then that's why it freezes up a little bit there when it gets really cold. But so that. Restaurants, they've been busy all summer, so sometimes they'll take a little bit of time off in the winter. So some of the different restaurants will be closed for like 2 to 3 weeks. But there's enough restaurants. So then if one's taking their family time off, then other ones are open.
Yeah, you'll never go hungry in the wintertime. There's always something open for you to find food at.
Hmm.
What about snowbirds? We hear a lot of stuff about people from Canada going to, Arizona and Florida and that kind of thing to get away from the winter. But, for a whole bunch of reasons, that's maybe less of interest to people now. What about snowbirds coming here? Do you think that would be a good fit?
Like, weather-wise and everything, for sure. I not so much the infrastructure. Like, Osuyus is really set up for it. They have, like, the big RV parks that have a whole bunch of, like, activities and all stuff planned around snowbirds, and they have a whole bunch of hotels, and we don't have a whole bunch of hotels. So, yeah, we don't have enough, like, accommodations, basically. There's the one-off bed and breakfast stuff that you can do and the little bit of hotels, along the coast here and there, but not, like, huge amounts like Osoyosu you can do. But yeah, if you can come in, you can find a spot, it's great. It's a very nice place to hang out.
Yeah, and, like, we do have RV parks here.
Mhm.
I have it in my head that, and this maybe isn't true, but I have it in my head that it's mostly long-term residents at RV parks here.
Workers.
Workers, yeah, that kind of thing. But, if you've got a fifth wheel and you're used to one south of the border, it might be worth your time to make some phone calls here before we get too far into the season and see if there's anybody that will, rent you a stall for a month or 2 months or 3 months or whatever it is you're looking for. Because, yeah, it's, like, well, we obviously love living here, and I think it's a nice escape from the rest of the country, when you gets to be 40 below.
Well, and yeah, I forgot to mention, like, you golf here all winter long if you want. So there you go, my little retired friend.
Yeah, and I think there's 3 or 4 golf courses on the
At
cor co
least,
3 or 4 golf courses on the coast.
yeah.
That's a mouthful to say. So, yeah, you probably don't have to wait too long for a tea time.
Yeah.
And, yeah, life is just nice here. It's really nice. It slows down a little bit in the wintertime for us. Like, this was maybe the busiest summer we've ever had
Mhm.
with, people at the beach and, busy at restaurants and shops and parking and all that kind of thing. But we're recording this, just kind of towards the middle of September right now, and we went out this morning and we kinda said to ourselves that we kind of felt like we have our town back because, we went for a muffin at Molly's Reach, and there was a little bit of a line, but you just stand there for 2 minutes and you're there, and you went and bought some, olive oil at the Coast Olive Oil Company, and that was the same thing, that it wasn't lined up out the door this time. And, yeah, so if you're coming, especially midweek, I think that, you kind of feel like you have the whole place to yourself.
Mhm. We are still busy here, like September, October, and then, yeah, you're like the holidays, so like Thanksgiving and Christmas time was still are busy, but yeah, definitely during the week, is not as bad. But on weekends, it's still a nice little getaway all winter long for people from Vancouver to come and keep our town a little bit busy.
And maybe grasping at straws, but I think the ferries are a little more bearable for locals in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Like in the summertime, it's pretty common for there to be a 1 or a 2 sailing wait, even especially on a long weekend. They can be really like a zoo then. And when things slow down, the ferries can still you have their busy times. But yeah, it's not quite as hectic as it is the rest of the year, again, except for, long weekends and that kind of thing.
We still need a ferry. Like, if you're counting on going across and or ferry, what did I say?
A reservation.
You still need a reservation.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah, the reservation, I always kind of like the idea of, better safe than sorry.
Mhm.
But if we ever have an appointment in the city and we've got to come back in the summertime, we kind of just accept our reality that it might be a 1 or 2 sailing wait to get across. But in the wintertime, if we're at an appointment, we've got to come back. I'm never worried. I'm going to sit 2 sailings
Yeah.
to come back in the wintertime.
Mhm.
Again, unless it's a long weekend.
I think that's about it for the Sunshine Coast. Oh, we have green grass, long time.
Yeah, 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 it's very green.
Yeah.
We talk about that. We talk about it being warm and not having snow, but that's the thing that when people come visit us in the wintertime, that's the thing that they comment on. They're like, "I can't believe how green it is. It's so green, it looks fake."
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very bright, vibrant green. And, yeah, it's kinda surreal, but it's very nice.
Yeah. We like it here.
So that's, the winter on the Sunshine Coast in a nutshell. If you're thinking of visiting and, you've got questions about it, leave it below. And if, maybe you're local and there's things you'd like to do in the wintertime, also leave a comment and let us know what your favorite thing is to do during the winter months.